Blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. We are in Psalms, a lot of chapters to read today. Chapter 41, 43, 46, 55, 61, 62, and 64. Hope you're able to get a chance to read up before we get started, because there's some good law enforcement takeaways in these chapters. Starting with chapter 41. And as you read this, I hope you were able to highlight this or any of the law enforcement takeaways you came across. But this one, check out the blessing in this one. This is so tailored for law enforcement. And I think we've got to look at David and recognize who he was. He was a king. He was a soldier. He was in charge of lots of people. He was a shepherd. And a lot of the things that he went through and a lot of things that he talks about line up so closely with what law enforcement deals with on a regular basis and who we are. So I think that's why so many of the Psalms speak to us as law enforcement officers. But let's get into this blessing. Uh, Man, if this isn't talking to a police officer, I don't know what does. Listen to this. How blessed is he who considers the helpless? Is that not us? I mean, we go on a lot of calls where we're there to help people. We come across people in their worst times of need, and we're helpers. I mean, we protect, we serve. Um, Again, how blessed is he who considers the helpless? The Lord will deliver him in a day of trouble. Man, I want that kind of a blessing. The Lord will protect him and keep him alive, and he shall be called blessed upon the earth. And do not give him over to the desires of his enemies. The Lord will sustain him upon his sick bed. In his illness, you restore him to health. What a cool blessing for those who consider the helpless. But you've got to do it with sincerity. You've got to be true about it. You can't just go about going through the motions and doing it. I mean, you really have to care for the lost and the helpless. Sincerity of heart is what God looks at. If you do your job with compassion and with the goal of helping others, you can be the recipient of this blessing. We work in a profession that puts us directly in the path of the people who are in need of help, and I spoke of that. This ought to get us really excited. I know it does me. I mean, that's such a cool blessing. Um, Chapter 43, verse 3 says, it talks about light and truth. And light and truth are pillars of law enforcement. These go to the very heart of what we do. Um, we can't succeed without these. We can't do God's justice without these. So if you haven't read already, go back and check out 43 in Psalms. Chapter 64, verse 6 talks about injustice. And I loved the thought of this because injustice is always associated with evil, always. So justice being the opposite of injustice, if we do it right with sincerity of heart, it is a righteous act. Now, it won't get you to heaven. Only a relationship with Jesus Christ and giving your life over to him is going to get you to heaven. But once you do that, God calls you to righteousness, and he's got all these great works that he has prepared for you in advance. And being called to law enforcement is one of those, considering the helpless, right there. So anyway, just the way these Psalms were all put together, it's this wonderful picture of law enforcement, our duties and what our responsibilities are as compassionate Christians who reflect the love of Jesus Christ. Anyway, tomorrow's read is Psalms 69, 70, and 71, and then 77. So only 4 Psalms for tomorrow. But read ahead, highlight your law enforcement takeaways. Let's come back tomorrow and discuss them. If you've got any questions, as always, you can email me, chuck@fcpo.org. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow.